All right, so you thought about your stress coping mechanisms and how you handle stress. And the reason that we have those is because stress is bad for us, right? It causes all kinds of stress-related illnesses like heart disease and insomnia, anxiety, depression, weight gain, all kinds of negative things. But recent research has come out to show that that may not be the case at all. Like, it's kind of changing how we're thinking about stress and the way that we view stress. It's been showing that when we think of stress as a bad thing, as a negative, that our body reacts in a negative way. And yet when we think about stress in a positive way, right? Like, how can stress be positive? Well, if you think about stress as your body's way of getting you ready to tackle this situation, like it's preparing you to take on this stressful situation that you've got in front of you. And it's helping your brain to learn and grow and draw from past stressful experiences. If you think about it that way, that is a positive way of viewing stress, and our body responds to stress in a more positive and healthy way. So I got into the studies, I was reading through them, and I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of them, but if you are somebody that really likes science studies like me, then you can find them in the Know Better, Do Better post. But I'm just going to cover them very briefly here. There's 3 of them. The first is from the University of Wisconsin. They interviewed 30,000 people, and they asked them 2 questions. First, they asked, would you consider over the past year to have had high levels of stress, medium levels of stress, or low levels of stress? And then they asked, would you consider stress to be harmful? So then they watched these people over an 8-year period. And at the end of 8 years, they looked at the death records, and they noticed that people who had categorized their past year as a high stress time period, they had a 43% increased risk of dying. Their increased risk of death was 43%. That is a big percent. But this was only for people who had categorized stress as being harmful. The people who had said that they had high stress levels but didn't feel that stress was harmful had the lowest scores among all 3 groups. Even the group that said that they had low stress and felt stress was harmful. I thought that was really interesting because it says to me that the way we think about stress, harmful or not harmful, can have a huge impact on our health and the way that our longevity of our life. The second study was from Harvard University. And Harvard University took a group of people and divided them into 2 groups. The first group was looking at a video about how stress is negative and bad and all the things that we've been hearing our entire lives about stress. The second group of people, they watched a video about how stress was good and positive and how it prepares your body and enables you to deal with this situation and helps your brain to learn and grow. And then after these people had watched these videos, they went and experienced a stressful event presented to them. And during this stressful event, the researchers were monitoring them. And they found that those people who had watched the positive video, they reacted to the stressful event with less anxiety, with more confidence, and probably what was most surprising was that their body exhibited a physiological difference in how it reacted to stress. When we experience stress, when the people who watch the negative video experience stress, their blood vessels went from open and relaxed to narrow and constricted, which is not good for your heart. But when the people who'd watched the positive video experienced stress, their blood vessels stayed open and relaxed during the stressful event. Much like when we are experiencing joy or courage, those are very high emotional events. Our blood vessels stay open and relaxed because that's good for our heart. And that's what happened with the people who were watching this positive video about stress. And I was kind of blown away by that. Like, they have just watched this video for a few minutes, and just changing their perception of stress radically changed not only their behavior and their mental processes, but also the way that their body physically reacted to stress. The last study I'm going to get to, but first I want to talk to you about another hormone, oxytocin, sometimes known as the cuddle hormone or the love hormone, because it's what is released by your body when you are hugging someone or when you're with people you love, people you care about. Your body releases oxytocin. And it's not often thought of as a stress hormone, but when you are under stress, your pituitary gland is pumping out oxytocin like crazy. It's your stress response trying to get you to connect to other people, to tell somebody how you're feeling, to go and be surrounded by your loved ones, by your family and your friends, instead of closing yourself off and isolating you. And the reason that your body wants you to do this, to go out and to be with people that you love and to connect with them during a stressful moment in your life, is because when you do that, your body releases more oxytocin. And it's really good for your health for two reasons. Well, more than two reasons, but two big ones. First, oxytocin is anti-inflammatory. So it goes through your body and it helps your body recover from stress faster. Second, and I think the most interesting and the coolest one, is that your heart muscle has receptors for oxytocin on it. So when oxytocin is released, it goes to your heart and it can help regenerate your heart cells. It can help repair the damage that a stressful event has done to your heart. It makes your heart stronger. So when you are in the middle of a stressful situation, don't close yourself off and be isolated. Reach out, be with your loved ones, because that's going to release that oxytocin and it's going to help you recover from stress and to rebuild from stress, have more stress resilience than if you were closing yourself off. So that brings me to the third and final study. This one was done by the University at Buffalo, New York. And they did something very similar to University of Wisconsin. They interviewed a large group of people and they asked them two questions. The first question was, have you experienced a major stressful event in the past year? Something like major financial loss or loss of a loved one, something extremely stressful. And then they asked, have you spent time caring for someone else, taking care of someone else? And they watched this group of people over 8 years, and then they went and looked at the death records, and they noticed that people who had said that they experienced a major stressful event had an increased risk of 30% of dying from a stress-related illness or disease. However, that was only for the people who had not taken care of someone. The people who had experienced major stress and they took care of someone, their increased risk was 0% because they had developed a stress resiliency. They had developed the ability to recover from stress quickly. So instead of their cortisol levels remaining high, instead of all that damage being done to their body because of prolonged stress, which a major stressful event definitely can do to you, their body was able to recover from it and to rebuild because they were connecting with someone else. And I thought that was very interesting because usually when we are feeling stressed out, our first reaction is, step back, give me my space, get away. And instead, our reaction needs to be, let me connect with you. Let me share with you how I'm feeling. Because when we do that, our bodies are able to recover and to come down from stress much quicker. So did I just blow your mind with my little thing about stress? Because you came in thinking I was going to talk to you about how stress is bad for you and how stress, you need to cope with it. And let me give you some coping mechanisms. And instead, I just turned everything around on you. And instead, you're walking away with this lesson of changing your viewpoint on stress and how it can be positive for you, and reaching out to people when you are in a stressful situation can actually make your body change its physiological response to stress so that it's no longer such a negative thing. It can actually be a useful tool for you to get through those stressful events. And I have other useful tools to help me get through stressful events. Like when I know I'm going into a stressful situation, it's going to be stressful, I tend to reach for my Stress Away bottle, because this oil helps me to calm down, to focus, and it smells good. And it just helps me to look at the big picture instead of all the little things that tend to like stress me out. And then that's mental stress. But there's also emotional stress, like when your kids are driving you bananas and you are turning into a raging stress monster that wants to scream at them. That's when I tend to reach for my peace and calming, because it gets my emotions back in balance. And so instead of pushing them away, I can connect with them. Instead of using my stress in a negative way, I can use it in a positive way to handle the situation, to learn and grow from the situation, so that the next time they are driving me crazy, I can handle it in a much more healthy manner. And of course, when we are stressed, our brains tend to keep going. They don't shut down. They don't stop. At night, we are making lists of all the things that, oh, what do I still need to do? Or what could I have done better? Or, our brains are just going and going, and you can't sleep like that. And that's not good for your body to recover from stress. So I use lavender because that helps me to calm down, helps my brain to be quiet so that I can go to sleep and get a good night's rest. So what I hope you take away from this is that you need to change your viewpoint on stress. You need to think about it in a positive way, something that is helping your body be prepared and enabling you to handle the stressful situation. And instead of pulling away from people when you're stressed, to reach out and connect with them, because not only is that going to help you recover from stress faster, but it's also going to help your heart, your body to stay healthy and to keep that balance. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, you can let me know, and make sure you check out those studies in the Know Better, Do Better post. Thanks.